We have our building permit for the house at Glen Echo, and we have packed up the contents of the house and moved it into storage, so that way we are ready for restoration. And today we are doing tree service. So there's a local company that comes out and they are cleaning up the pecan trees and the historic live oak trees and just restoring it to its former glory. Today is October 17th, 2019, and it is a beautiful, clear day. Perfect weather for tree service. Right now we are walking down to where there are live oak trees, and there were two enormous ones that had fallen at some point, and it took about 5 days to get them cleaned up. They were so big. Behind me you'll see the live oak trees. A year ago you couldn't even see these trees. So much trees that had grown up in between them and vines, and we have been working hard to clear out everything that has been growing up in between them so you can see them. And the tree service that's here today has trimmed off the dead limbs, pulled the vines out of the trees, and had taken out some smaller trees that were actually growing up in the limbs of these trees. And there is a pile right here that you see that is just a bunch of mulched up debris that had been growing, and that's going to end up being some really good topsoil. And then if you see out here, this is a tree that had fallen, but it's not dead, it's still alive, so it's just growing sideways. And it was cleaned up, so it's going to, it'll make it. And then we got some huge stumps over here. These are from one of the trees that fell, and those are the stumps from it. And we're gonna make a sitting area with some of the limbs of the oak trees will be notched out to be benches, and that way the trees that have fallen will still be around in some sort of way. And we still have a lot of work to do. We're gonna keep working our way through the woods here. And this is what they look like before the tree service goes to work on them. You can see where there's a lot of dead limbs sticking out. There are vines growing up through the tree. There's a lot of trees that are growing underneath it. And this is what the tree will look like once they have completed work. This is the building that my great-great-grandfather, Albert Glenn Smith, used as his summer office. He was the clerk of Superior Court of Bryan County when the county seat was in Clyde before Fort Stewart was built. And in the summertime they would close the courthouse because it was too hot, and he would bring his files home to his office, and that way people could come by and still conduct business with him. This was the main road at that time, so it was very convenient. And this flag was going to be thrown away, and so we decided to bring it home and give it a new place to live. That was a shed, workshop, multi-purpose. At one point they would park cars in it, and we do not know when it caved in. It was like that when we came down to work on the property, and it appears that limbs from the two pecan trees next to it fell off and is probably what caused it to cave in. This is a house that's located close to Albert Glenn Smith's summer office. So it's not very far off of what used to be the main road. When the government was building Fort Stewart and there were homes on that property, those homes were moved to a different location, and this is one of those homes. This home was brought to the property for friends of the family to live in. This road used to be the main road, highway in Ellabelle, Highway 204. This road was very curvy, and the state rerouted the road to straighten out those dangerous curves. And when they did that, my family purchased this road, and it became a private road through part of the property. This is an old no trespassing sign that my cousin Pauline Morgan had posted during her time here. This is one of the fire breaks that runs throughout the property. A fire break is in place to stop fire from engulfing large areas. Throughout this property, there are many, many, many fences, and this is a piece of some of it. As you can see, the wire is very old, rusty, the fence posts, all put in by hand. These fences were used to keep livestock contained. Before there was fencing laws, the livestock here was free range, which meant you didn't fence your livestock in. The livestock wandered and grazed and always came home at mealtime. So when livestock was free range, fences were built to keep livestock out of areas such as gardens. And then once free range became illegal and you had to keep your livestock penned in, then the fences became corrals to keep livestock in a certain area. This is another piece of fencing that we are going to try to preserve. It was probably a gate. Once we uncover it, we will know more. These are the kind of things that are around Glen Echo that we would like to preserve. Behind me is one of my favorite trees. It's a live oak tree. It is very, very old, and it is the largest tree that we have found on the property so far. And I can't wait until we can clear out enough area for the tree service to come back here and just restore this tree.